So after 3 years, back to Gran Canaria again, into teeny tiny little continent where you can find everything. Forests, mountains, beaches, dunes, cliffs, everything is here. So I came again because the first time I hiked this island, it was from south to north, straight line, around 90 kilometers, I think, from Maspalomas to Galdar. And to be honest, I wasn't very excited about the result because it felt sort of dull, sort of not interesting enough. But after hiking Fuerteventura, Lanzarote, Tenerife, I felt like I missed something here, that there has to be much more than I saw before. So I made another plan and another hike, and this time I went from the airport in the east through the mountains to the west and then by the coast to the south, so like a semicircle. And it was beautiful. It was so nice. I was very surprised how different it was to that first hike in 2021. Some places I visited again, but most of them, they were new to me, and this island is so variable. There is so much variety here that I think that even 2 big hikes are not enough to explore everything interesting here. So I walked in the end about 160, I think, maybe 170. The original plan was 170 kilometers, but some parts were on roads, so I took buses or hitchhiked through those parts. I think I skipped or passed like 40 kilometers of those 170 by hitchhiking and buses, because it was just on very uninterested roads and there wasn't anything nice to it. But on the other hand, I made many detours and explored much more than I expected. So I walked definitely at least 30 kilometers more. So in the end, it's like 160, 170 kilometers. I was hiking about 20 kilometers per day. And basically from sunrise to sunset, I started at the end of December. And now it's beginning of January, so basically the coldest months here, but coldest means that it's not 35, that it's just 25. When I was living in Czechia, it was -5, freezing cold, dark, grey, snowing. And here, short sleeves and you are still out, so this is a perfect place for spending winter or hiking in winter. And that's what I do every single winter. I'm going to hike some of the Canary Islands. So yeah, I was walking from sunrise to sunset, which is about from 8 till 6, and started in the airport and was going up the mountains. I think the highest point is about 2,000 meters high, which means that it's cold up there in the night, especially in the night. I think that those first 2 days when I was in the mountains, it was just a little bit above 0 in the night. But then after that I hiked to the coast, and there it's 15-17 degrees in the night, so very warm and very pleasant to sleep under the stars. I didn't take any tent or anything like that. I was just sleeping under the stars. First night in the cave, another night on the top of the hill in the mountains, and then 4 nights on different beaches, which was absolutely amazing. Alone, nobody, nowhere. And the last night I had on a boat, which was also very interesting experience when it was wobbling and not so easy to sleep in those waves, but it was very nice and warm. And the weather, you see, it's very rarely raining here, maybe one day per month. And when it's raining, it's just a little bit, so it passes quickly, and most of the time it's either partly sunny or sunny, which is great, which is really, really nice, and you get some tan. I'm definitely darker than when I came from cold Central Europe. The road I chose was a combination of some official trails, like GR131 and few others, and then some paths which I just found on the map. And there's actually a pretty big difference between those two, because the official trails here are very, very safe, are nicely marked. You basically can't get lost in those, and you can just go by those trail marks. But those other paths which I chose, I just found on the map, dashed line. So it's a path, usually a path, and I went through those. And twice I got burned. It wasn't a good idea at all. Twice it was very dangerous. Once on the cliff, when I was basically crawling, and there was a 100 meters drop to the ocean, no signal, no nothing. And after like 1 kilometer, I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's just too dangerous, one bad step. And the path was very narrow, and there were little stones on it and sand, and it was slippery and dangerous. But when you go up, it's much easier than going down, so you can't go back basically. Or if you go back, it's much more dangerous than continuing. So I had to just pass through it. And the same ones in the mountains, where I was basically crawling up the mountain, and it was a big drop, and it was very steep and slippery. So I don't recommend you to follow my trail, the whole one. I recommend to go by those marked trails, which are usually red or yellow here. The unmarked trails can be, or don't have to be, but they were twice dangerous, and it's not worth it. It's not worth the risk, especially when on most of those places there is no signal at all. So if something would happen, first of all, nobody's going there, so nobody would find you. It's abandoned. Those are abandoned paths. And second, you wouldn't be able to call for help, so you would be screwed. You would die probably if you would just fall there or whatever. Or at least tell some people where are you heading. If you wouldn't get in touch, they could send someone. Yeah, but so just take the official trails and you are safe to go. It's very, very nice and very easy here. And there are many trails. I met a guy who was also hiking around Gran Canaria, basically zigzag there and back and all the time. He said 200 kilometers. So you can make many your own trails, and I think that's what I will do one day when I will come back for the first time. Just explore more parts, because it's a little island in perimeter. I don't know how, it's 70 kilometers maybe from south to north and from east to west. But there are many paths and many trails and many nice places to visit. And if you want to see them all, you would have to really go from one side to another one. It's not possible to do it in one way. So it's for more visits. Gran Canaria is also well known to hikers. So you may definitely meet some. I met a few. and made some friends. It was very nice to chat with other people who are hiking here. And I also learned that actually December and January is the season. Some local guy told me that this is the time when they are the most people. I was thinking the opposite, that the most people will be here during the summer, you know, during July and August. But he said no, because in July and August, all the tourists, they stay in, you know, the Europe, where like Italy, Croatia, all those south parts, Greece, where it's much closer, because this is 5 hours flight, and you get the same basically. But for winter, you can't get this in our Europe. There is cold, and there is no, you can't just go with short sleeves. So that's why people are coming here. So what he said is that in December and January, they are the most people here actually. And summer is off season. I don't know, it sounds weird, but it makes sense, sort of. So it's good for restocking, because it's very easy here. There are little towns everywhere. You pass at least one per day, and there are shops and restaurants there. So you can carry just 2 liters tops of water, and you can just restock on the way. I had actually one bad experience here in Spar, which is like chain. I like to buy stuff in Spar because they have some healthy things there, and a good choice of products. And they are all around Europe, so you sort of know what to expect. And in Spar, in Tejeda, in little town, they indirectly accused me of stealing. They told me that I should leave the backpack somewhere there, and I indirectly said that I could steal something, and they want to see my backpack. So that was very insulting. I left the store. And it's interesting that it never ever happened. I was shopping here in Spar, in different Spars actually, maybe 6-7 times, and dozens of times all around Europe, and this never happened to me anywhere else than in Tejeda. So I think it was an exception. The security guy was probably upset on someone or something, and he ventilated it on me, but it was very unpleasant experience. It's not nice to be accused of stealing, you know, to be a thief. I would never do anything like that. Makes no sense. But apart of that, it's very easy to restock here. There are shops everywhere, and when there are no holidays, they are opened long, even during those famous siestas. In Spain, you know, it's opened very, very long here. And bars and restaurants are also everywhere. I was surprised that basically in each of them they had some vegan options, or they were very eager to make some for you. And my life hack from this year or last year is to take 2 meals. That you can just have 1 meal for lunch, big lunch, and you can ask them to give you another meal to a box, and all of them are very happy to do that in those restaurants. It never came to my mind, but it's a life hack, because you have 2 warm meals to reach a nice good meals for lunch and dinner. So all you need to set up for yourself is breakfast, which is no problem. So this is a very good idea to do, and they are happy, they make money on it, and sometimes they give you even a spoon. So yeah, it's nice, and I liked it to have two warm meals per day, basically every single day. Sometimes in those little towns they don't speak English, but you can somehow talk, you know, with your hands and show things, and and to communicate in other ways, so it was never a bigger issue for me. In bigger towns, they always speak English. In smaller, not that much, but really basic words are enough here. And also the prices are really good here. In smaller towns, you can have lunch for 10 euros. Really, really good prices. So basically for 20 euros you have 2 meals per day, which is cheap. In bigger towns or in bigger restaurants, once I sort of got lost and ended up in a luxury restaurant. And I'm not used to these things, so they were looking at me first. They saw me first, and they were looking like, torn off things and sweat and dirty backpack and everything. They were like, oh boy, who is coming here? He got lost. But I had a good meal, just it was too luxurious for me with those dishes and everything, and the bill under some whatever. So, and it was pricey. It was 3 times more than others. So I would choose, if I could recommend, I could choose just little small bars or restaurants in smaller towns, and they are more friendly there anyway, and more happy to see you and more happy to provide and even cook to you something which you ask for, to adjust to your needs, which is very nice. As I said, sometimes when the path was on the road, or when I wanted to go somewhere and it was connected by road, I took a bus or a hitchhike. I think that buses here on Gran Canaria are the most convenient of all Canary Islands, because they are super frequent. The bus stops are everywhere. You can pay by card, which is not the case in other Canary Islands where you have to pay by cash. And also what's unique to Gran Canaria is that they are all in Google Maps. So in Google Maps you just point the finger where you want to go, switch to buses, and it exactly shows you where is the bus stop you need to go to start, where is the bus stop where you will finish, when is the bus going, which line, which number, the cost, how long it will take. It's extremely convenient here. The buses here are really top-notch. It's a Mallorca top-notch bus service here. You can go anywhere, anytime by a bus, and sometimes if you are somewhere farther from bigger roads and you go on smaller road, which is like 10 kilometers long, and you can just hitchhike. And sometimes nobody stopped, so I was like walking 12 kilometers on the road, but usually somebody stopped and I saved 3-4 kilometers walking on boring road, and people are happy to talk and happy to take you, so it's also an option here. And there is one big thing with buses here. They are convenient, they are going often and all those things I said, but they are never on time. Never ever on time. Sometimes you wait 5 minutes, sometimes 10. Then the bus driver is upset when it takes longer, when there are more people, because he's in a hurry and he's driving like crazy, and you get it when you are the last in the line and you get the ticket. He started to drive instantly and you fall down. It's weird because everything is so convenient and they are going so often, those buses, but they just can't be on time. Never ever. I've never experienced one single bus on time. Once what happened was that the card reader didn't work. It just didn't recognize my card. I couldn't pay. And the bus driver said literally, no card or no work, no worry, something like that. Don't work, don't worry, something like, makes no sense, but makes sense in sort of that if you can't pay, you are going for free. On the other hand, it's very cheap here. I think every single time I took a bus, I paid 1.4 euros. So it's probably like fixed fee here for anything you go, anywhere you go, and you pay 1.4 euros, which is nothing. So yeah, the local transport is really nice here. And if you want, you don't have to even walk here with a backpack. You can come for holidays and just visit nice places by buses. I was also surprised that when you check reviews on Google Maps, in places where you want to go, there are many reviews, you know, and you find a beach where you could see that it could be nice for you to go, and you check reviews and people are saying, this is very remote beach, it's very hard to get there, and there is nobody, and you will be there alone. And you come there and it's full of people, it's like 30 meters big beach, and they are dozens of people like one next to each other. And then you check reviews on a bigger beach, closer, where it's very easy to get. It's available, it's big, it's nice and sandy and warm. And you come there and there is nobody. So I don't recommend to, adjust by reviews on Google Maps, because people say something and I don't know, it depends by the time of the year or weather or I don't know, whatever. But it says that it's super crowded and you come there and it's nobody. Or it says that it's empty and hard to get there and it's very crowded, so better to check it. I slept on 4 different beaches and they were all empty. It was beautiful, it was beautiful. It was one of the... I have 3,000 kilometers in my feet in the last 3 years, and sleeping here was probably the best experience of all. What was nice was a few months ago in Crete, on Crete, where I could sleep in chapels. But here on beaches, that's another level. When you are alone on a beach, and on the west coast, on the beach, the sun is going down straight there above the sea, so you just sleep there next to the sea. Just be careful to not sleep too low, because there could be a tide and you can get wet by the water, by the rising water, so sleep a little bit farther. But you are falling asleep with the sun going down through the sea, and you just sleep next to it and you lie down there. It's absolutely beautiful. I loved it. Sleeping here on beaches was probably the best part of hiking here, and the best sleeping outside in last 3 years. Really, really nice. And every beach is different. Some of them, they have those half circles made of stones. Some people do it to protect themselves from wind. So you can just add a few stones and you are covered from all sides. On one beach there was a big circle, so it was like a nest. Perfect, really nice. You are falling asleep alone on your own beach, and you are waking up alone on your own beach for free. You see the stars, the sky is clear. You see Milky Way. You hear no sounds, just the sea could be very, very loud. The waves could be very, very loud. So it could be hard to sleep there. The guy I met actually on the beach, who was hiking also around Gran Canaria, he couldn't sleep by those waves because they are very, very loud. But that's a very little compromise for the nice view and that experience. It's forbidden here to camp, and camping is setting up the tent. Not bivouacking is what I did, is sleeping under the stars, just putting a mattress, sleeping mat, and sleeping on there. But I've seen many people camping, even in natural parks, even here in dunes, in Maspalomas. People are setting up tents, which is dangerous because you can get a very high fine for that, but it seems like nobody cares here. It doesn't mean that I recommend it. I think that in this weather, in this climate, it makes no sense to set up a tent, to sleep under the tent, to destroy nature when you can just sleep under the stars. There is no rain whatsoever. The second night I was sleeping on the top of the hill. It was very humid there and my stuff was wet in the morning from the humidity, but that was the only night. All the others were okay, and still, okay, you are a little bit wet in the morning, but on the sun it dries up very quickly in 1 hour, so it's not an issue. I highly recommend, if you come hiking here, to sleep really under the stars. It's the best experience anyways. And you can also try the yacht. It's available on Airbnb. Not cheap, but a very good experience. A guy comes to you to the dock and he takes you on a little boat, inflatable boat, to to a yacht, which is in the sea, and you can sleep there. And in the morning you can have a swim, and really it's a nice experience. Here I recommend it. Also, hostels are very cheap here, like 20 euros, 30 euros. Or you can book more expensive hotels if you want. It's very available here. It's a touristic island, so everything is available, and it just depends what you prefer, if luxury or the nature, or you want to spend more or less. Everything is possible here. Oh, and one thing, to those buses and to locals speaking English, be careful when you are asking in the bus, where is it going? Because 3 years ago, I asked the bus driver if he's going to Maspalomas, and he said, sí, and took me to Las Palmas. It sounds the same for them, probably. The problem is that Las Palmas is on the top north of the island, and Maspalomas, where I wanted to start the hike, is on the south. So I was going through the whole island up, and then I had to take another bus all the way down. So pronounce it correctly, or make sure on the map somewhere on the Google the bus line. And also in Canary, there is like Canary accent where they sometimes skip S letter. So the driver said Mapaloma. You said like you want to go to Maspalomas, and he repeats it and he said Mapaloma, which is fine. But when you imagine that Las Palmas is the capital of Gran Canaria, and if you skip S, it's La Palma, and La Palma is a different Canary island here. So it's a little bit confusing and a little bit funny, but nothing what would give you any bigger troubles anyways. So I was talking about the weather a bit. Really, it's very warm, very hot here. The big difference is between mountains and these lower areas. The difference in temperature is not that big in the afternoon. It's still above 20, but in the night it's a big difference. Also, nice thing here is that there are no mosquitoes, so you don't have to worry about that. They are very annoying when they are there and you sleep, and they just annoy you all the time. There are no mosquitoes here, but also they are like literally no animals. On other Canary Islands, you could see many lizards and chipmunks and goats and many animals, and here, like nothing. I haven't seen a single lizard here. Just a few birds. In one place near one beach, there was a little oasis where people are probably watering, and then there were those big palms and everything, and it was full of parrots. That was very nice. People even said, one local guy said that those are types of parrots which are people taking to to Spain, and then they are having them in the cage, and here they are living freely. But like literally in those, in the nature, there are no animals here. I don't know why. What's the difference between this island and others? Because there are many. But if you are on the beach or when you are on a boat, you can see a very big fish, you can see a shark, a dolphin, a whale. I met a guy who said that he was snorkeling, that it's very nice, the west coast is very nice for snorkeling, and he saw a trumpet fish. It's like the big fish with this huge, like a trumpet nose. And so you can see them if you like snorkeling. And there are some crabs, but other than that, really no animals. Very few birds, like nothing, nowhere, anywhere. I don't know why, but yeah, no animals on Gran Canaria, or a very few, or a very good in hiding, maybe that. And the sea here, I remember it colder. I think it should be around 19 degrees, and I remember 3 years ago when I was here that the sea was, it's swimmable, it's perfectly swimmable, but it was quite cold. But this time, I don't know if it's different or I feel it differently, but it feels warm. Really, it's not cold at all. 3 years ago, I remember that it was it was nice to swim, but it was pushing me out of the water because it was cold. Here, it's warm. You can stay there as long as you want. So I don't know what's the difference. It shouldn't be different in the 3 years, but yeah, the sea or the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, it's swimmable, it's warm, it's nice, it's good for swimming, perfect if you want to swim in the winter, definitely here. And also there is a difference in weather and temperatures in north, between north and south. On south and west, southwest, it's the warmest place of Gran Canaria. It's actually the warmest place of all Canary Islands. Here in Mas Palmas, actually, the place where I'm now. It's the warmest point of all Canary Islands. And on the north or east, it's colder. The temperatures are lower than here in the night and during the day too. But I think that the ocean should be the same. There shouldn't be any difference. So perfect for swimming, December, January. Warm enough for swimming and taking a bath. Really nice. Yeah, and also it's very touristic friendly. In Gran Canaria, there are public toilets, free public toilets around the island. The bad thing is that they are dirty like hell. There is never a toilet paper available, so you have to bring yours, and you can't sit on that shit because it's really dirty, but at least you don't have to shit in the woods, and make mess and dig holes or whatever. So yeah, there are public toilets on many places in the towns, and the infrastructure here is good. It's one of the best of all Canary Islands. So there is even sort of not luxury, but availability of everything what you need, even as a tourist, not as a hiker, but as a tourist for families. But some resorts, big resorts, are just like, it looks like Las Vegas, huge buildings and cars everywhere, and some cities like Las Palmas or Mas Palmas, they are super crowded, full of cars, very noisy, so better to avoid them, because in the nature there is nothing, or more inland or on some abandoned beaches, there is nobody nowhere, and it's much better experience. I think that's it. Very nice hike, very surprising for me how much I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. It was one of the best hikes in last years for me, and I haven't expected that, because I hiked it already and it was one of the worst, not like worst, I don't want to say worst, it was still nice, but it wasn't as nice as other hikes. And this one, 3 years later, the same island, different places, it exceeded my expectations. And actually, until now, it was my least favorite Canary Islands of all I've visited. And now it's one of the most favorite. It's more dense, it's less open. When I would compare it to Fuerteventura or Lanzarote or Tenerife, they are more open. There is more space, and this is like more dense, and those forests, and the views are no less epic, but they are different. You don't see that far like on other Canary Islands, so it's a very big difference. And it's also the greenest of all 4 big Canaries. Fuerteventura is total wasteland. That will be for me always the most favorite one, because I love wastelands and there is no elevation and there are big views and deserts and nobody and nothing, emptiness. It can't be beaten by anything for me. I understand that for most people this would be the most boring, but for me it was the best one. But then they are Tenerife, it's about Teide. Lanzarote, it's a volcano land. It's rocky, very rocky, dark rocks, black rocks, and volcanoes everywhere. Gran Canaria is green in the middle. Gran Canaria is basically one hill, 2,000 meters big, like this, like a half bubble, with all beaches around, and the mountains in the middle, and forests around. So completely different than others. They are still 3 little Canary Islands left for me, and that's El Hierro, very tiny one, La Gomera and La Palma. The problem with those is that there is no direct airplane there. You have to go to Tenerife and from there to take a ferry. So I'm leaving them for later. But they are also more mountainy. I think they are similar to Gran Canaria, but more elevation, more ascending, more descending, probably even better views, and also smaller, and definitely less touristic. So I'm looking forward to visit them again. And after this experience, being again on Gran Canaria for the second time, I want to come to other 3 Canary Islands I've visited before, Fuerteventura, Lanzarote and Tenerife, and hike different parts, because I just realized how different it could be and how better it could be. Because, for example, Tenerife, for me, I was disappointed. Yeah, Teide was nice. The ascent to the Teide, to the top, was epic. The sunrise there was absolutely breathtaking. But other than that, it wasn't that exciting. But now when I see how different it could be when you just go somewhere else, I want to come back and take different trails, which is great, because then you can go every winter to some Canary Island and enjoy the sun and get some tan, and switch from dark cold place to nice, sunny, warm, light place. So that's it. Very nice hike, very pleasantly surprised. I would say 9 out of 10. The first experience was like 4. Completely different experience, the same island. And for this year I'm planning Corsica, but not the trail which everyone walks, GR20, which is going through mountains. It's actually said that it's the most difficult trail in Europe. But I don't want to hike it, not because of the difficulty, but because you have to book the places to stay. You can't stay anywhere else than in refugios. You have to book refugios, and you have to book them several months ahead. And they check it, they control it. It's forbidden to sleep anywhere else, and I don't like that. I like freedom. I like to sleep where I want without damaging anything. Of course, every time I'm trying to be nice to nature, don't sleep on flowers, you know, pick a place where nobody sees, nothing, leave no trails, whatever, but that's not possible on GR20 on Corsica. So what I want to do is to hike my own trail by the coast, by the beaches, because I love beaches and warm and sleeping on those. So that's one of my plans. I would also like to visit Karpathos, another Greek island, also because the different experience. I hiked Corfu Island, Greek island, and I was disappointed. It wasn't as nice as I expected. And then I hiked Crete, another Greek island, and it was absolutely epic. Probably the best experience I've had on hiking. So I want to give it a shot to another Greek island, and it's a Karpathos. It's like a noodle. You can walk through the whole island. It looks really nice. And for the summer, I'm going finally, hopefully, to a big road trip around Europe to visit beaches and nice places and take a car and sleep in the car or next to the car or whatever and enjoy that. I'm planning to do that for years, and hopefully this time it will work. So my recommendation, check the Gran Canaria. Don't go only by the main trails, check the surroundings, check the maps, check the paths which are not official trails, and visit some of the beaches on the west coast. It's a very nice place and you would love it. It's definitely one of the best Canary Islands to hike. So see you on another trail.